I'm the director of the Vancouver Island School of Art. And I'm just going to give a brief introduction. I know people are excited to be outside and don't want to stand around listening. A brief introduction to the exhibition, and then each of the artists are going to say a few words about their work. So I know you'd like to hear from the artists themselves. So the work is a result of a program we call the Independent Studio Program, which goes from September to April. So it's an example of two artists who work extremely hard every day for an 8-month period. And the idea is they work on a specific theme and just kind of stick with that theme, which is sometimes a challenge to really focus. But you can see that the work has really, it's very personal and really kind of strong work. And I highly recommend you pick up a catalog. They're $5 each, and there's 2 really wonderful essays about each of the artists. And if you're an artist yourself, it's always interesting to hear how other people talk about artists' work. So I want to briefly talk about the installation, because my curatorial studies students installed it, and they also wrote the essays for the catalog. So one of the things that probably in the beginning Celine and Jane were wondering, well, how could work that's so different be put together in a show? And that's one of the wonderful things about the curatorial process, is that the way you hang a show could really bring works that might not necessarily go together. So I just want to point out a few sort of interesting things that happens in terms of putting a show together. So for example, when we're looking at Celine's, this really kind of gestural splash, and then seeing Jane's, it becomes a splash, right? So it kind of interprets things in different ways. So how works exist on their own, but when they're beside one another, a new conversation takes place. And then in this corner, you could see, this is Celine's piece, and on the right side, where it's sort of a neutral colors, is this really long vertical, which works so well with Jane's abstract gesture piece. So you can have work that's very different, but they actually bring out the specific characteristics of each work. So just when you're walking around the space, I'd like you to take a moment to think about the way things get installed. Like this one, you have the smallest piece in the show with the largest space around it. So it really takes on a whole different kind of quality. It almost feels as if, in perspective, that it's moving into distance. So I just want to congratulate my curatorial students as well. And Natasha, do you want to wave? And Karima? And then I just want to say that it was such a pleasure working with both of the artists, and to see that there are people who have come to art a bit later on, but have always wanted to do art. And it's like when I speak with either of them, you just feel like they're so ready to do this. And it's such a pleasure to work with people who are so dedicated. So I just want to thank you for being such dedicated students. So if you could each say a few words. We'll start with Celine.
I came to painting, drawing, and printmaking, everything rather late in my life. I was a nurse beforehand, in my previous life, and stay-at-home mom. I know there's a lot of nurses that come through the school here, I think, because it's so non-creative, and we crave something creative in our life. So at the age of 45, I decided to take the plunge. Thought I'd better do it before I get too old. And I started coming here and took one class, and then I was suckered, just loved it. So I graduated in 2013, and then I went on to spend a year in England and got my degree. And then last year I had a show, and then here, and I decided I'd really like some more painting instruction, and I had a mentor, a great mentor this year, Neil McClellan. And these are my works. So as you can probably get from the images, that my work is narrative-based, tells a story, and it's about memory, and particularly how time is affected by our memory, and memory is affected by time. So how Wendy was talking about when you put two things together and it speaks to each other. So I suppose that's what I'm doing with my larger works. I'm putting two images together and having those two images speak to each other to tell the story. So in these paintings, I've used pictures from the past and the present. They all come from one particular place, a lake in northern Quebec called Lake Hughes. And some people that are here have been there. They range in time from the 1930s, my photographs, until the present day. I only use photographs that have been my own images or from people that I know and I've sourced from the lake. I don't take any from the internet or anything like that. So it's all, my work's very personal. And these paintings, to help portray the memory, I've used a monochromatic and a more traditional color scheme. And some of the ways I've, to try to portray memory, I've changed the scale, changed the color, divided the picture plane up, and layered images. So this is all showing the compression of time and time stretching out. And so basically I thought, when I thought about talking here, I was going to talk about this image actually in the corner. And unfortunately it's tucked away. But that painting is called Knee High, to sort of play on. And the top photograph is from the 1950s. And you don't see the woman with the curlers in her hair, and you don't see that very often anymore. And the bottom image is from a photograph I took a couple years ago. And as far as memory, our memories, without memory we wouldn't have any identity. Like, we're nothing. And our memories are all gained by our experiences in life. And this painting, I sort of joined the past and the present, just to say that, to give that feeling that we're connected from our past and the present and what's going to happen in our future. So that's it. So I hope you enjoy my life. And then I'll introduce Jane Francis. No.
Hi. Thank you all for coming. This is really a treat. And being at PISA this year has been an incredible gift. I went to art school a long time ago, and I had a great career in graphic design. And to actually bridge that gap, leaving my career, I thought this would be a fabulous opportunity. I've been to Visa a few different courses through the years, but really to dig in. And Wendy was my advisor, and it was an absolute, I don't know how to speak, but it was a really incredible experience. So what Wendy did was she basically looked at the work I had and said, move from what you're doing now and let's build one. So I was working on my forms. Basically what I get charged by is nature and the energy of nature in plants. This is what I've been working on. So a lot of pine cones actually this year. So I've just taken the feeling of a particular pine cone, whether it's tight or whether it's opened, or and meditate on it for a while and then just go into it. And a lot of the pieces are large because I just wanted to feel it. I paint with both hands at the same time to use a little energy. So that I can just be a little looser with the whole movement and start from the center and move out. So these are 3 different marks that I made from that and bringing the pieces together. So you can see it throughout. Most of the work, as I said, was larger than my tight so that I could really get into it. So, anyway, well, I want to thank you very, very much, and the curatorial gang who put this together, and you choosing my pieces with Barry, and yeah, it's been a great experience. Thank you very much.
And the artists are around if you have any questions, and if you want to find out more, check out this lovely catalog.